Tonio Burton versus Stuart Sutherland at the 2023 New York Pro Prejudging. This is my New York Pro Prejudging wrap-up. What's up, desktoppers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video. And today I'm wrapping up the prejudging from the 2023 New York Pro, held just moments ago. It wrapped up. We have the open men's bodybuilding. We have the 212s a little bit earlier. We have the classic physique. We had a ton of classes. We had Natalia Coelho, women's physique Olympia champion, competing there, and she looked fantastic and will probably be the winner of that contest. But she has some battles as well. But let's get into the open. It was Stuart Sutherland versus Tonio Burton in an awesome battle. Came down to a final 2 call out, which is always exciting because, you know, 2 guys are up to potentially win this show. And you guys can give your opinion in the comments who you have winning this contest between Stuart Sutherland and Tonio Burton. I'm going to go pose by pose, break this down, and feature a few of the other guys as well that were competing here. So in the front relaxed, straight away, who do your eyes go to? For me, it's Tonio Burton on the right. I mean, one thing that really pops out is just the polish to his physique and the bubbliness, the roundness. And that's something that Stu he'll never have that sort of look to his abs like that. Can he improve his abs? Absolutely. But he's got a really nice ab and thigh as well. So it's like, it's tough. It's just Tonio has genetic gifts that, you know, you look at the round quads, how it goes into the waist, how the lats pop out, how the chest is round, just sitting there at front relaxed, the delts, everything pops like absolute crazy, sort of a once in a generation sort of guy, like a Dexter Jackson type. But in that front relaxed, irregardless of that, let's move on to the front double bicep. And in the front double bicep, Tonio just pops. Like I said, the outer sweep into the waist, out to the lats, round muscle bellies, even though Stu might be a bigger guy. I think Stu could even bring his elbows forward a little bit, maybe lean his shoulders forward a little bit on this pose while keeping that waist pulled in. I think you could do that and it might improve it a little bit for him. But overall, I have Tonio Burton winning the front double bicep. On the front lat spread, this one is maybe a more decisive win. On this one, I'd like Stu to do that same thing, like pull the hips back, lean the shoulders forward, like stay that same structure, just push the butt back and just lean everything forward. I think that would make the pose look even better, but he is overall a very good poser. And Tonio is hitting that one spot on. I think Tonio in the past has sort of pushed his hips forward when he's hit that front lat spread. And look at the difference now. I mean, obviously his physique has improved a ton, but Tonio is really hitting that pose spot on now. And it really is a standout shot for him. And I think probably his strongest shot in the lineup, which I thought was going to be his back shots, but that one for me just blows me away. Now, as we move on to the side chest, Stu basically gains a little bit of ground here, but Tonio, I think, is still too round. Now, Stu has more muscle overall on that upper body. He's got the big traps, you know, just big, thick body, and it really comes from that training because we did an interview with him a couple of weeks, not even a couple of weeks out, like 10 days out or so, and he discussed that he does more of the HIT, the HIT sort of training, like the Dorian Yates style, at least a little bit of that sort of high intensity sort of training. So you can see it in his physique and he's built that bigness, but Tonio just has another level of bubbliness to his physique. You look at the leg and how his quad pops up at the top and then the hamstring cuts off, the glute, the separation all there. That's all like a, what would you call it? Like a Dexter Jackson type look to that side leg. And for me, I have Tonio winning that one as well. So I have 3 poses to nil. The back double bicep, I'd love to give this one to Stu, and this one is very, very close actually, because Stu has a lot of freaky hard muscle from the back. From the waist down, you can argue that Stu's winning this pose because he's very conditioned. I love the way the glutes cut out from the hamstrings, very defined. Tonio is maybe a little bit softer around there, but Tonio has the lines through his glutes this time, and the hamstrings are in. And he didn't have that as much last year at the Olympia or when he actually beat Justin Rodriguez at the Legion. So I think Tonio's improved, and the bubbliness and the pop to the back as well. I would give this one narrowly to Tonio Burton. In the rear lat spread, I'd say it's more of a defined win. You look at the waist, how small that goes in, how his lats just pop out. It's really an unbelievable pose for Tonio, how the traps run down the back and they're so defined from the rest of the back. Like I said, legs-wise, you could argue for Stu, definitely. But upper body wise, I'd say this one is Tonio's, even though Stu does have an improving back for sure. Now, in the side tricep, I would give this one to Tonio too. He could pull his waist in a little bit more. That's one sort of critique I have of Tonio on this pose, but he's improved it a lot. I mean, look across the shoulders, how it comes in at the waist, how the side leg looks. I've got to give that one to Tonio. And if Stu can sort of lean that pose where he's got his shoulders leading in front of his waist, it would improve that taper overall, but still not a terrible pose for Stu. Now, this is where Stu actually really makes up some ground. So I have, I think, 6 poses to nil, which sounds harsh, but that's just my opinion on each pose. Ab and thigh, I would give this one to Stu because Tonio's doing the opposite and Stu's doing the right thing. So Stu has his waist back on this one, legs come out, and it creates that perfect X frame. I'd give Stu the ab and thigh, which I didn't think I'd be saying. Well, actually, I thought I could be saying that pre-show because he has a great ab and thigh, but Tonio sort of hides his physique a bit here. He pushes the waist forward, which creates the opposite of the taper he wants to create on that pose. If he can push his waist, just his hips back, just push his butt back and still crunch down on his abs and still hit them, that would definitely look best for Tonio on this. But overall, give that one to Beef Stew, Stuart Sutherland. And on the most musculars overall, based on the crab most muscular and how Stu was coming forward and looking really confident, I'd give the most muscular to Stu. So I've got it 6 poses to 2. Tonio Burton winning this contest. When I polled you guys as well while I was watching this live, 61% of you had Tonio winning it versus Stu Sutherland. Now let's discuss a few of the other guys and give them their credit as well. So we also had in the first call out, we had Eric Wood on the left, who is in his pro debut, 27 years old. We had Joe Seaman second on the left. We had Joseph Kefton. He was also in the first call out. Now, a man who wasn't in the first call out is Max Charles on the right. And you see the most muscular. He looks absolutely enormous, but he falls down a little bit from the back, as you guys can see here. So that's sort of what hurts him a bit. Joe Seaman looks really good from the back, second on the left. I think Eric Wood on the far left, I was worried he wasn't going to be full enough. I think maybe he was a little bit too filled out and actually filled up with a little bit of water, maybe spilled a little bit, which is not like Patrick Tour, but I think he needed to try to bring that fullness to match these other guys. But overall, very impressed with the size of Eric Wood and the fullness. So he can bring that in with the conditioning he brings on Instagram. He's a dangerous man, and I think he can do that. He's sweating a little bit on stage, so I definitely think he can improve. Now, in the 212s, I want to give these guys their credit. I have Kerif Badjo winning. It was a competitive lineup, as you guys can see on the screen now, but I have Kerif edging out this one. And in the Classic Physique as well, I have Michael de Bull winning it. I just think he's too polished. There's some other really good guys up there as well. Matthew Grego. There was a whole ton of them. So I wanted to give those guys at least a little bit of credit, and I'll cover those guys more in my finals live. So I've got finals live part 1, finals live part 2, and I'll also have post-show wrap-ups and things like that as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and thanks for showing love on the lives and on this one. Give the video a thumbs up. Let me know who you think's winning the 2023 New York Pro. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my lives and any of my content surrounding the 2023 New York Pro, subscribe, hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. So for Xavier Wills, this is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.